Gladys, Allison. Okay, let's go ahead and get started. What we're going to focus on today are three topics of how we are driving buyer trust through innovation. During this time for us as parts and accessories sellers and in this vertical, we're not so much focused on holiday sales and those types of things. So I thought it would be a really good opportunity for us to talk about the things that we're doing to invest in you and your business. But first, let me introduce myself. My name is Sheila Cromar, and I'm a senior category manager for parts and accessories. And I have worked for eBay since 2010. And it's one of those categories that once it gets in, it's in your blood, and you just never want to leave. And so I'm grateful to have the opportunity to be here today and talk to you about the things that we're doing to help invest in your business. So the first thing that we're going to talk about is we're going to talk about coupons. So many of you have probably noticed that throughout 2025, we've made a concerted effort to put coupons and discounts on the site. The reason that we've done this is that we realize that our job as eBay, as the marketplace, is to inspire customer loyalty, to bring new buyers, and to help increase conversion rate. We win when you win, and so therefore we want to help you sell more. And we do know that buyers convert more. Maybe they convert faster because they have a coupon, or they choose eBay over another marketplace or another retailer because that coupon does exist and it inspires that loyalty to come back again. So, those that was an example. This was an example of a banner, and let's talk a little bit about where we place those banners, because we really do try to drive awareness so that we can get those buyers to convert today while they're here instead of next week or losing them to another competitor. So we put on platform placements. There's a lot of things that are listed there, but ultimately we put the banners on all the pages that we possibly can. We include it in emails, the daily or the digest emails. We also have app notifications. So as the coupon is live, we push the notification to buyers in the app saying, "Hey, here's this coupon code. Be sure it's ending, right? Be sure to check out." We want to make sure that they're constantly aware of that. We also put them on our social channels and then externally with other placements like Google and our partner networks, so on and so forth, because we're trying to increase the buyer's awareness and that top of funnel like purchasing decision to say, hey, you know what, I am going to consider eBay because they're considering they're bringing value, and I see them everywhere. So let's talk a little bit about the types of coupons. And I'll remind you that if you do have questions, because we've got a very short time to cover these three topics. And so if you do have questions, please put them in the Q&A tab, and we'll either get to them during this session or we'll get to them afterwards. So I want to make sure that you get your questions answered. So our our coupons are typically comprised of either the whole store inventory, and this is the most popular option. This is what we do most often, which is everything that you have listed already is included in that coupon event if you're a participating seller. We do exclude categories. So, for example, let's say that you sell wheels and tires as well as car parts, but we're just running a car parts coupon. Then your wheels and tires inventory would not be enrolled into that coupon. So we can be sure that it's only targeted the correct inventory. Now, sometimes we do know that you have MAP restrictions or they're very low margins on certain items. We're very much aware of that. And so our coupon team does have the ability to approve of certain sellers submitting select inventory to be included in the promotion. And the reason I'm telling you all of this is because we are investing in these coupons with you, where it's a co-funded coupon. So you will put down you'll cover part of the discount, and we'll cover part of the discount because we know how important this is to driving sales. So let's talk about what those results look like. So with our coupon, Save 10 Parts, we did a case study, and participating sellers sold 1.3x more during the coupon period than the weeks immediately before that. And they also sold 1.2x more than non-participating sellers. So what you can see there, that black line is non-participating sellers. So they also got a bit of a lift because of that increased traffic, but the participating sellers still benefited more. With Tire and Wheel 25, this particular seller sold 1.7 times more during the coupon period than the weeks immediately before. And then they maintained that momentum for several weeks after, and we call that the halo period. And you might ask, why does that happen? Well, it's because of the increased traffic and the recency of sales. Basically, the buyers are purchasing those products, and they're informing the best match algorithm that it's a good product and it's something that they want. And so of course that's going to be surfaced higher in search, because we want to get the buyers things that they're interested in and they're actually going to convert on. So you can see that there's a continued momentum. Last case study we have was, or that I'll share with you today, was on an OEM brand coupon. Items that were included in the event sold 2x more during the coupon period than the weeks immediately before and after. So these coupons they're pretty powerful revenue generators. So you may be thinking, well, how can I participate? And what are you going to do in 2026? We don't have the full calendar of coupons just yet. We're waiting to finalize that. But if you're interested in being a participating seller, be sure to email us at that email address, motorscoupons@ebay.com, so that we can reach out to you if you haven't been able to participate in the past. We want to know if you want to participate, and we'll make sure to put you on our check-in list. Okay. Let me just quick check the chat. Do we have anything? We've got a Q&A. Is there anything we need to answer right now? Coupon. Okay. Great. I'm going to let Kevin help. And again, if Kevin, if you can't, then we'll get to those questions later. So let's move on to our second topic. And this is the vehicle secure purchase. So our vehicles team has been working very diligently to revolutionize the car buying process. Completely reinvented vehicle selling and buying online. And I want to start with telling you a little story. So back in 2014, I purchased a GTI from a seller in Florida on eBay. And this was not a dealer. They were a private seller. So there was a bit of hesitation that I had. Like, I obviously, as an employee, know that I can trust the process and trust that eBay has my back and so on and so forth. But it was a little bit shaky, right? So I had to do a lot of research, a lot of calling, a lot of trust that I was sort of, this was gonna work out. And then on the other side of it, there was a lot of work that I had to do in order to secure financing and do all the paperwork, and then actually find a shipping company to ship my car to me, which incidentally took 6 weeks. So the way that we have reinvented this process is we've made it super secure for buyers. There's protection at every step. The Buyers obviously have always had a vehicle purchase protection, but the other benefits are one-stop financing and more. And then being able to get that right to the door. So it makes it a seamless process. All right. And then for the selling side. So why would somebody choose to sell their vehicle with secure purchase? Same thing. As a private seller, there's a lot of work that you would have to do and a lot of steps that a lot of trust that you would have to, give to the buyer. But also, even as a dealership or a business, let us focus on the boring details rather than, and you can move on to getting right to the next sell. We'll help do the financing and take care of all the paperwork and skip all the DMV work. So if you have additional questions about how this might work for you, or if you're looking to step in to the vehicle space, Motors Training, and I know it's not on the screen here, but Motors Training at eBay.com is where you'll be able to send um, your questions. All right. Let me find my other screen here so I can move on. And the last section that we're going to talk about is easy and free returns. Now, again, our entire process here of this year has been to build buyer trust and retention. And so, what we knew is that we needed to invest in enhancing the return flow so that we were providing a competitive, easy, and affordable experience that meets the customer's needs. And here's why: because our returns process was detracting from conversion. It was hurting your guys' business. Buyers were less than happy because they wanted an experience that they could trust and that they knew how it was going to go. So let's talk a little bit about some direct um, quotes, and there are thousands and thousands of these. So these are only three that I pulled out of our research and of our customer satisfaction surveys. So I want you to take a look at this first one. I will not be using eBay again unless they fix their refund and or exchange protocol. It's a difficult returns experience, and this person's not going to come back, right? So again, we're not doing our job to help retain that customer. Buyers expect a consistent return policy. As a buyer myself, and again, I've worked here since 2010. I purchased a pair of pants 2 weeks ago. I didn't think to look at the return policy. The seller didn't accept returns. I could have lied and said that it was not as described, but I just contacted them and said, hey, these didn't fit. Like, what can we do? And then they just closed the returns policy. I didn't even think that to even check it. And it kind of made me upset, right? So that's going to impact the buyer satisfaction as well. And lastly, um, this buyer, I just decided to keep the item. It was more hassle than it was worth than trying to get a refund. And they became a silent sufferer. And that's going to play into their willingness to come back and repurchase. So, with the easy and free returns, eBay Guaranteed Fit, we launched that last year, and that brought positive sales lift and an increase in buyer satisfaction. That where we provided the free returns for buyers for fitment issues. We saw positive results, and we believe that it could extend to other return reasons. And we're so convinced of this that we're investing in this with you by covering 50% of the return shipping cost when you're using the eBay labels. Because again, we're investing in this. We know that this is going to drive positive customer sentiment, and that's going to increase in return purchases, right? All right, let's go ahead and talk a little bit about next steps. So on site, what you see is all eligible listings on site already show the correct policy. Okay. Um, if that item is eligible for it. The enforcement is in place for all new listings beginning October 8th, meaning that now if you're trying to send a new listing and it doesn't have a compliant policy, then it will start to be blocked. Okay, so I want to make sure that when you're setting up new listings, you make sure that if it does um, require seller paid returns, that's a business policy that you're putting on that listing. The next step of that is going to be enforcement begins in November for revisions. So with revisions in November, and this is going to be somewhere around November 10th right now, if you're trying to make a revision and your item doesn't is maybe you're selling through an API, so you're using a listing tool, then that if that doesn't have a compliant policy on the API side, the revision isn't going to go through. So we want to make sure we don't run into any issues if you're trying to change pricing or you're trying to change like shipment information. So just make sure that on your side in your listing tool, or if you need to use a flat file using reports upload, that you have compliant policies on all of those listings, because we are still seeing some confusion because sellers are looking at the site itself and thinking, oh, it's all taken care of, and it's actually not. We need to make sure that on the API side, so your inventory management tool, that it has a compliant policy. Okay. All right. Well, that is all that I had in terms of content. We do have a couple minutes here for, let's go through the questions. It looks like we have a few in there and they've been replied to. Let's see. I've been having trouble accessing my current coupon code. I keep getting a dead link. We looked everywhere. Joseph, I'm not entirely sure. Are you trying to utilize a coupon code from that has expired? Maybe we need to get a little bit more information about that. Um, all right. Um, and then is the vehicle selling process only for cars, trucks, and motorcycles, or does it also include snowmobiles and ATVs? Great question. Thank you, Kevin, for the answer here, and offered on almost all the vehicle categories, including power sports. So some of the services may be limited to just cars and trucks. All right. Are there any additional questions that I can answer for you? We covered a lot today. Okay, I'm going to check the chat here too. Leo, you say, could you share any news about the status of Fitment Plus? um, I'm not entirely sure what you mean by that question. Can you give me just a little bit more insight on what you're looking to find out? Um, and Kim, of course, you can ask questions in here. Typically we utilize the Q&A part because it's easier for our moderators to find the questions. It doesn't move quite as fast as the chat. Okay, Leo, yes, it had been inaccessible for a long time. Yes, we were making some changes to that system. And it should be up and running just fine. We have not had any issues with it recently. So, all right. And we've got, let's see. Terrific. Okay. All right. Well, it's been a pleasure. I'll be here for the next few minutes taking questions and hopefully being able to answer them. And Richard, yes, Fitment Plus also is rolling out to select categories. Perfect. Um, But we'll be here to answer your questions. It's been a pleasure being able to speak with you today. I do hope that in 2026 you reach out to us, or well, reach out to us before then, maybe today, and let us know if you want to compete or share in those coupons and the success that we saw from 2025. And we do wish you all of the best. And we hope to see more sales and your businesses growing in 2026. Let's see, Robert, how come you can't find anything in search that you ask for instead of everything else comes up that you do not want? All right. Well, that's it. It's a tough question, right? Because I'm not entirely sure what sort of search you're putting in, but we are constantly working on our search so you can get to the inventory that you want. Robert, if you want to, you can also DM me and put in maybe like a typical search and maybe your email, and I'll be able to reach out with to you and we can talk a little bit more about what you're experiencing so that we can fix it if we need to. All right. And then to join the next breakout session, please click the sessions and choose one of the three sessions that are being hosted now. It was great to see you all.